Hello, everybody. Um, Sorry, I was going to say a few minutes late, an hour and a few minutes late. Um, all kinds of shuffling of logistics these last couple days and getting things sorted. But I am here now, and you guys always get like the latest scoop on everything in my life, which is the cool part about watching these tea break chats, is that you get the inside scoop. And so today's excitement is look at my eyebrows. Can we just take a moment to appreciate them? I've never had my eyebrows done. Well, like a gajillion years ago in high school, I think I used to have them waxed, but I haven't had them done as a grown up. And I had the HD brows done today, and I am feeling fabulous. So thank you to Charlotte for suggesting I have them done, and Crystal for suggesting where I get them done. And actually, that's going to lead into a bit of what I'm going to say next, is that I posted on my stories this morning about I was in a quieter mood, and you can tell that kind of by my earrings. Actually, I reach for smaller earrings when I'm in a quieter mood. And obviously now I'm a bit bubbly. But I was posted saying how all of our moods and energies are always fine, and being in a quieter mood does not mean that there's something wrong. It doesn't mean it's bad, or that I should, that in any way that kind of energy is anyway wrong. Like, all of our moods and energies are perfectly okay and acceptable, and really to kind of check in with yourself and think of how am I actually feeling today instead of how I should be feeling. And that's definitely where I was this morning. It was like there was nothing wrong. I was just quieter and a bit, just here kind of stuff. And then, not through any intentional change, but I went to get my brows done, and I'm really pumped with the result. I stopped and got myself a coffee from my favorite cafe, which I have actually, hold on, let me try it. Yeah, it's pretty good. So I went in there and said, I'm still a fairly newish coffee drinker, learning how I like it. So can I tell you what I want, and can you tell me what it's called? Turns out what I wanted is called a vanilla latte. I wanted very milky, and I wanted vanilla syrup. But so I got myself a little treat, and as I was walking home from getting my coffee, I was noticing I was feeling bubbly and excited, and the much more this level energy. And I think, like I said, I wasn't trying to fix my mood or fix my energy, because there was nothing wrong with it in the first place. But by pouring into myself this morning, by having the time to do my brows and to do something that I've been wanting to do and do something for me, and going and getting myself a treat. I didn't just get the coffee, I got the cookie, one of my favorite cookies. So by treating myself, it did shift my energy. It shifted me into a place of more bubbly, higher vibe, kind of more excited stuff. And I just wanted to point that out, to say that, again, it wasn't a fixing, it wasn't a I need to change this, because I was perfectly content being today's just a quieter day, so be it. But we really can, by pouring into ourselves, we can shift our energy in all kinds of ways. So reminder of that, I guess. And then I also wanted to talk about how this week really has been about, and is going to continue to be about, letting all of those feelings be okay, letting all of the moods be okay, letting all of the energies be okay. And this is always, always important, but I knew for me this was going to be a big week for it, because it's my last week of work. I have 3 days of my corporate job left. I've been at this company for almost 7 years. I've been in corporate accounting for 12 years. It's a pretty big deal to step away from it and to do my coaching full time, which so there's lots coming up about that. And so this week really is just letting all of that be okay. Oh my gosh, I'm noticing there's so many more of you watching live at 11. Maybe I should change the timing of this. There's way more of you than there usually are when I do it at 10 o'clock. Interesting to note. Hi, everyone. So yeah, and this week, it started off on Monday morning. I pulled into the car park of the office and felt tears welling up in my eyes, as I was thinking, this is the last Monday morning I'm going to pull into the car park. And then thought, although the whole point is to feel all the feelings this week, I did think, crying when you pull into the car park every morning is probably not quite what I'm going for. I don't need to walk into the office every day with like mascara streaming down my cheeks because I showed up at the car park. But that said, it's about letting all of that. So although I am super freaking excited to do my coaching full time and to spend more time talking with you guys and talking about, you know, all the stuff that like really lights me up, also it's okay that I'm going to miss the people who I work with and really like. I'm going to miss actually, there's part like, you know, I love the working from home and the office and I love having that balance, but not having an office to go to anymore and not having that kind of structure and routine and the people around and all that, that's a big change. And although hopefully it's going to be super exciting and I love it, and I mean, I'm pretty sure I will, it's also going to be quite different to not have that kind of container that I've always had. You know, I've always had those sort of like, I want to say boundaries, but boundaries isn't quite the word I'm looking for. I guess just, yeah, kind of the container, the expectations. And, you know, I've spent, well, my whole, you know, adult life living up to that. But also, you know, before that, it was school, it was university. Somebody's always told me where to go and what to do and how to do it. And this is going to be the first time where nobody's telling me any of those things. Nobody's going to tell me where I need to be and when, other than me. I'm going to spend all of my time listening to what do I think is the next right move? Who do I want to be working with? Who do I want to be talking to and reaching out to? And what do I think is the next best thing to do? And that is mostly super goddamn exciting and also a little bit freaky. But the reason that I'm okay with this is because I've spent so much time practicing listening to myself and trusting myself and knowing that I don't always know the next move. I'm not always going to know, like, you know, I'm going to be a bit like, I don't know what to do next. But I trust that I'll figure it out. I trust that I can listen to myself. I can figure out, I might not know the long plan, but I trust that I'm really good at knowing the next right thing, the next right step. And if that turns out to not actually be the right step, if I take that step and it's like, oh, not sure, like I check in at every bit and I can readjust. I can course correct. I can try something else. And that all of that is okay. So although it's, yeah, a bit like daunting to think no one's going to be telling me what to do for the first time in my life ever, it's also like, but no, this is my chance for me to get to tell me what to do. And I've been practicing that, like I said, in my life in general. But work is obviously still a big part of your life. So even though I'm really good at this now in a lot of parts of my personal life, work still takes up a big chunk of my day, of my time. And now it gets to expand so much further. So that's pretty exciting. Yeah, vanilla latte, good shout. Although maybe needs a tad more vanilla syrup. Still not quite sweet enough. So that's what's been going on this week, is letting all of that stuff kind of come and flow. Another thing actually that's come up this week, things I'm learning as I am going through this, is yesterday, who knows, I was feeling that kind of like tightness in my chest again. So whenever I get like, oh, it's often in my chest, I feel this like tightness up here and this uncomfortableness. And it took me, I was really trying to figure out like why I was feeling that way. It's like, it's not full out panic or anxiety, but it's a sense of like, so I was really trying to work out what was going on there. And eventually I pinned it down to my inner good girl, my A student, perfectionist, like, look at how amazing I am. Won't everybody love me now? Like, if I do everything perfectly, then everybody will, you'll have no reason not to love me. Like, that inner person, that inner good girl, which a lot of us have in us to some degree or another. She was freaking out. That inner good girl in me was thinking about the handover. So I've got a replacement at work, and she's actually been there for about a month now. But so she's been learning from me as we go for this time. But my inner good girl was like, what if I don't hand over everything perfectly? What if things, I miss things, or after I leave, people are going to be like, I mess something up, people are going to be mad at me. And, people are going to like, I want people to love me. What if they don't after I go? And I really had to, like, first of all, figure out that's what it was. And then second of all, have some good soothing conversations with my good girl and go, you know what? It's okay, Lindsey. You don't have to get it all perfectly. I can trust that I have built up, through my time here. I know that I do good work. I trust that the people who work with me closely know who I am. They know I do good work. They know that I am doing it all with integrity. They know I am doing it all with the best of intention. They know that also that I'm capable of mistakes because I point them out to them. Like if I make a mistake, I point them out and go, oh, look. And, that's part of being human. It's why we have multiple layers of review at my job, and because we all make mistakes. So I'm trusting that, people at work know me and trust me and know where I'm coming from. And B, I'm trusting that if I do make mistakes and they find them later, it's okay. It doesn't like destroy my legacy or anything like that. It's fine. It's normal. And honestly, there will be people who get mad at me after I go. There will be times when my team or people outside of my team are like, fuck's sake, Lindsey, like, either why did you do it this way? Or, couldn't you put it somewhere else? Or like, what on earth was she doing? That will happen. And that's okay. And honestly, I've told some of them, like, I'll be your scapegoat, feel free to like blame everything on me. I've been telling them that for the last few months, to be honest. Like, somebody needs to be a problem starter, like there's been some like shit to shake up kind of thing. I'll do it, or blame it on me, say it was me. I don't care. I can be the fall girl because I'm out of here. So that's what a big part of me believes. But my inner good girl was like not fully on board with that. She was like, but what if they don't love you then? And so it was, having those conversations and being like, it's okay. A, not everybody will love you, and B, the ones that do will love you anyway. And so I think it was really important to recognize that feeling. But there's been more of those throughout the week, and there probably will be in these last few days as well. And all of it comes down to treating myself with compassion and gentleness and kindness, and treating myself, like I said, pouring into myself like I have this morning. So getting the cozy coffee because that's going to make me feel good, getting the cookie because it's my favorite, or, wrapping up in a big cozy blanket, or it's not lit currently, but, lighting a nice candle, which smells so good. So even though it's not lit, it's still sitting next to me smelling good. Just doing the things, where if you saw my stories, I put grounding oil on the soles of my feet this morning because the grounding oil helps ground me, brings me back into this like place of self-surety, self-security, knowing I got this. So using all those tools to make that whatever I'm feeling is okay, to recognize what I'm feeling, where it's coming from, and have those compassionate conversations with myself saying, it's okay. So I think that's probably all I wanted to say in life chat. And I will move on to the questions because I've got 2 really good questions this week, and I hope I can do them justice, to be honest. They're big questions, and as often is the case, I will do like the best answer I can, but obviously all of these we can dive into in way more detail individually if you ever want to. But the first question was, how do you handle it when there are situations outside of your control, big situations outside of your control? Hello, cost of living crisis, housing market chaos. There's some big shit going on in the world right now that's affecting people, and affecting most of us. And so, how do you handle all of that? And it's a really, really good question. So it's a few things. The first thing I was going to say about it, and I will say it first, but then I will kind of caveat it. But the first thing is it is outside of your control. And I'm a big believer in focus on what you can control and let go of the rest. So I had a post-it note, multiple post-it notes up saying that in my house for a long time, that just to remind me of, there's worrying about stuff that's outside of your control is actually just a huge waste of energy. And your energy is leaving you through something that you can't control, and then you can't use the energy for anything else. So there's that. But then the caveat to that, which is a massive caveat, is that doesn't mean I'm saying you should ignore everything. That doesn't mean I'm saying pretend it's not a problem, or like, just, it's not a head in the sand approach, because that's also not helpful, because although you can maybe try and ignore it, that doesn't make it go away, does it? So if I'm like, oh, don't even worry about the energy bills, you can't control it, so why worry? And you're like, yeah, but I have my bill has doubled, and like, that is something, although I can't control it, I have to do something about it. So before you shout at me saying, but it is important, you're right, it is important, and I'm not saying ignore it. But what I'm saying is that spending a whole bunch of time, worrying and running it over and over in your head isn't going to end up being useful. So with stuff like that, when there's big stuff happening, it is outside of our control. To me, it's about recognizing it. Again, treating yourself with compassion and kindness, finding somebody maybe that you can talk to about it. So whether it's your partner or your parents or a friend, and, voicing your concerns and voicing your fears around it. And then it's the not dwelling on it. So it's sometimes, so if we're thinking about housing market chaos, so I believe, I'm not entirely sure about this, but I think the person who asked me this might be in the market for buying a house. So if that's the case, it is directly affecting you, and I can see why. For me, I'm not planning to move out of my house. So for me, I actually kind of am ignoring any housing crisis or housing market chaos, because as long as I'm staying in my house, it doesn't affect me. It's only kind of if you are in the house moving market, whether you're renting or looking to buy or looking to sell, that sort of thing. So I think that's where you're coming from. In which case, again, yeah, you can't ignore it entirely. But if that's the case, it's looking at it and, first of all, like I said, recognizing your emotions around it, but then separating your emotions from the practical bit. So don't say your emotions are not wrong. Back to what I was saying at the beginning. The emotions are never wrong on it, but they don't have to drive your decisions. They don't have to drive what you're doing. So if you can recognize them, and then I don't want to push them away, but just set them to the side a bit, and you can go, okay, I get it. You're there. I know how you're feeling. But can I not let you run the show here? And then you can look at the practical side and go, okay, so what do I have to do here? What am I in control of? Because you're not in control of the prices, the market. You can't control the big stuff. But what are you in control of? And what can you do? What steps can you take to make it the best for you? Do you want to delay a decision? Do you want to stay where you are for now and come back to it in 6 months? Do you actually want to jump on it right now? Do you want to, if you're looking to sell but your house price has dropped, is there anything you can do to your specific house to try and get the most value out of it? Can you maybe, pay for a decorator to come and spruce it all up? Can you pay for a professional photographer to list the photos instead, to take the pictures of the house instead of doing them yourself? So you can, once you separate the emotions from the practical stuff, you can start to look at the bits you do have control over. And that's not to say, again, you don't want to try and take control over something for the sake of it, or try and, often when we feel out of control, we can try and grab control from wherever we can, but I can do this bit, I can do that bit. But if it's this wild grab, then that actually ends up, again, a waste of energy. Whereas if you can look at the practical stuff of what can I control and how can I get the best for me out of this, then those can make you take the one step at a time. You go, okay, I'm going to focus on this, I'm going to focus on that. And you lean back into that trust that you're going to be okay with all of this. Sometimes it can be helpful as well. Another little one that I will say, and then I'll move on to the next question. But sometimes it can be helpful to actually walk through your fears all the way to the end. And I don't necessarily recommend this in all cases, but sometimes it can be helpful to say, okay, I'm afraid of something here. What am I afraid of? And then take that through all the way to the, what do I think is going to happen here? And then you can look at that and go, is that fear of mine, is that ever going to happen? And sometimes the answer is no, actually, by the time, and I recommend doing this out loud. So saying it out loud to yourself, to a partner, to a friend, to me, whoever. But it's very different out loud, or journaling as opposed to in your head. Everything sounds different in your head. Okay, that's my biggest thing, is try and get stuff out of your head however you can, because it's very different in there. But so you take this fear through, and you might then say it out loud and go, oh, now that I say it out loud, that's never going to happen, is it? That's just not going to happen. Or you might get to the end of that fear and go, that could actually happen. That's not unreasonable. That could happen. What would I do about it if it did? And then you can work through, okay, this is how I would handle it. And I don't think I have ever done this with any client who gets to the end and goes, oh my God, I would actually be alone and die, which is mostly what our fear is telling us. Like, a lot of our fears end up like, when you follow all the way through to the end, it's like, and then I'm going to be alone and die, which is our brain's rather dramatic way of trying to keep us safe. But when people have worked through all of this, they never end there. They always end with, actually, I could do this, I could do that, and we would be okay. It might suck, but we would be okay. So I think that might be all I have to say on that one. Okay, I think so. So how much time have I got left? Oh, I'll try and talk fast. This is another big question, though. The second big question that I had this week. Again, we can do this more in coaching if you want to, because this is a big one. But the question was, career or second baby? Career or second baby? Whoo, it's a doozy. And I would love to go into this with you in coaching. But in terms of my Q&A and the how everybody gets to share this, my short answer is you can do both. And I don't mean that in the way of like, just like, why should women ever have to choose? You can have a career and a family. Like, you can do everything. Women are super women. Take all the burden on. Like, that's kind of the message we've had is like, women can just do everything. But then it ends up being a big burden. So I will recognize that you can do both. I honestly, truly believe you can have everything you desire, and you can have a career and have 2 children. I also recognize that it can be very difficult to do that, and that comes with challenges, and that it comes with all kinds of considerations and etc. So it's not like it's just like, just do it. Who has a care in the world? I get it. I have 2 kids, and I've had a full-time career for all this time, and it's tough. And then add singleness to it, and there's more layers, but we all have the different layers, whatever they are. Even if you're not a single parent, we've all got various factors in our lives. So recognizing all of that. But if you are trying to choose between career and second baby, yes, I go back to, it doesn't always have to be a choice. I go back to really asking yourself, like getting quiet with yourself and really sitting with and exploring what it is that you most deeply desire. Put aside at that point the practicalities. Put aside what other people think. Put aside what you think you should or shouldn't do, and really get deep in yourself and intimate with yourself and figure out what is it that you most deeply desire. And it might take practice to come to that, but the answer is in there somewhere. And then it might mean, so I've worked with a client who was having this same kind of question about like wanting a second baby or not. And after lots of exploring, she ended up feeling like, I think I want a second baby because that's what I'm supposed to want. That's other people keep asking me when we're going to have another baby. And actually, I'm not sure I do want a second baby. I think I wanted that because other people want that for me, and that's what I'm supposed to want. And turns out I'm actually really quite content with what we've got. Like I want the baby we've already got, and that's kind of where I'm leaving it. Other people will come to a different decision and go, no, my deepest desire is to have a second baby. And things can shift around that. So it's tough to block out all the noise from the outside world. I really get that, especially when it comes to something like this, where so often our womanhood is linked to our ability to bear children, and the number of children that we have and how we mother. And I don't think that is correct at all. Your worthiness and your womanhood and your female power is all in you, no matter if or when or how many children you have or none. It doesn't change who you are as a human and as a woman. So I'm going on rants now today, aren't I? So it's getting clear about what you want. Then, then you can figure out what to do with it after that. So maybe there will be some adjustments to your career. maybe it will slow things down. Again, I'm not pretending that I'm not pretending it doesn't come with challenges. I took out, so for my 2 kids, I had a total of 14 months maternity leave between the 2 of them. So it obviously set my career back by 14 months. That's for sure 14 months I was not in the workforce for. Not to mention the fact that, I don't know about the rest of you, but I had a slow ramp up afterwards. It took me a while to get back to what I felt like was my pre-baby ability in terms of my brain was mush for quite a while afterwards. I was tired because my kids weren't sleeping through. There was, I'd been out for a while, so I had to relearn some stuff. There's a re-entrance period. So there's that it can kind of set you back. So again, I get that there's real career considerations there, but I also then would say, but in the long run, that may or may not be important. We never know what's going to happen in the future. I was worried about it setting back my career, and I'm leaving my career. I did not see that coming when I had my babies. I did not think I was going to be leaving accounting and starting a intimacy and empowerment coaching business. We never know what the future's going to hold. So trying to plan out but it's going to impact me this way or that way or the other way. That again is kind of creating certainty where there isn't any. You don't know what the future's going to hold. And so the best answer is to really look in and figure out what it is you want, and then trust that you will find a way to make it happen. You will find a way to make it work, and that following what you desire, because you desire, in the case of a baby, I mean what you and your partner desire, because your partner does have a say in this as well. But they don't get to make the decision. At the end of the day, it's your body, and nobody else gets to tell you what to do with it, even your partner. But I would suggest having child conversations with your partner in general. That would be a suggestion I make. So yeah, trusting that what you desire and what you do will work out just fine, and that no, you don't know what it will look like, but you don't know what it will look like not having your second child. You don't know what it will look like staying at the job you're at now versus starting a new job versus starting a whole new career. There's no way of knowing what the future holds. It's up to you to write your own story, and you absolutely are the author of that and get to go with it where you please. So I think that's really exciting. Okay, I think that's probably all I can say about it for now. So I will, like I said, and I know I've said it more on this session than I usually do, but both of these are really great and could go into way more detail on them. So if this was you asking the question, or you going, I resonate with these questions, or you've got, somebody who is grappling with these things, and you want to go into it deeper, I clearly am very excited about talking about it more. So that's exactly what we can do in coaching. So as always, if there's anything that you hear and you're I want to go into that deeper on a more personal level, hit me up. That's what I'm here for. We can definitely do that. We can do one-off sessions for 155 pounds. I've got the mini package of 3 sessions for 444 pounds. You can do the 3-month deep dive, all inclusive, get the Voxer messaging support in between. You can do that for 3 months. There's options, and there's probably going to be more options coming out, because have I mentioned that I'm going self-employed next week? Because I am. Although probably not going to be new offers coming out next week. Well, won't be, because I'm going to take a few weeks off to chill out and do basically nothing / whatever I want. And then I'm going to go home to Wisconsin for 2 weeks with my children. And then come November time, I will get my head back in the game. But I'm really excited to really just pour into me. That said, so the offers that I currently have totally are still open and available, and I would love you to message me about them. But there will be more stuff after that. So if you want to talk about any of this, send me a message, put it in the comments, let's chat as always, and I would love to. If any of this resonates with you, please share with your friends, send the video, tag your friends, whatever, can you shout about me, basically? I will be here next week doing this again, and I won't just talk about work, because this will be my work. So if you've got any questions for next week's Q&A, send me a message, or I will put up the little story box like I always do on Tuesdays, and you can put it in there. Is there anything else I needed to say? Let me take a breath and figure it out. I don't think so. I think I've covered it all. So let me know if you think there's anything else. And if not, I will talk to you soon. Okay. Love you all. Bye.